Hello everyone, this is Ponder on Weather. In this update, we're going to be tracking our next storm system that's going to bring very heavy snow, even some record low temperatures, along with a powerful jet stream setting up rounds of severe storms. So let's take a look at the overall water vapor imagery this morning. You can find yourself with this upper level low that dumped all the heavier rains over a good chunk of Texas yesterday is going to be on the move over here in portions of the southeast. That's going to bring some more severe storms, but once that moves out, we've got clearing skies on the backside, indicative of that orange shaded color. But we can actually turn our attention up here into the Gulf of Alaska. That's going to be our next storm maker that's going to be diving into the US as we head into next week. So I did actually update my page. I appreciate all my followers out there. We're up to almost 125,000 subscribers on this channel. Definitely appreciate each and every one of you. It's always free to subscribe. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my daily forecasts. This is literally my 29th video of the month. So I do update this channel very regularly, so to keep you well ahead of the storm. So let's take a look at the overall setup going forward for the next 7 days. So for today, we're tracking that upper level low that's got over portions of North Texas. You're finding yourself over some drizzle into some light rain trying to wring itself out. That's going to be shifting eastbound into the afternoon hours, setting up some rain showers over a good chunk of Arkansas, back into Mississippi, into portions of Alabama, as well as western Tennessee. Further south, where you do have a little bit more instability, that's where we're going to find ourselves with some severe storms. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center does highlight that's a slight risk for severe weather into portions of Louisiana, far southern portions of Mississippi, getting into Alabama. We do have no hail threat with this particular system. We could have some damaging winds upwards to 60 miles an hour, and there is going to be an isolated tornado threat or two. Some of this activity does look like we have some discrete cells as we head into later on this afternoon. So you can't rule out we could have one or two maybe quick spin up tornadoes in this type of environment. So definitely be on the high alert for some severe storms as we head deeper into the afternoon, early evening time frame. So as we move through tomorrow, going into your Sunday, I know a lot of you guys have plans out there for your holiday weekend out here. For a good chunk of the country, it's fairly nice, right? I mean, you can actually see all the clearer skies back behind it. The only instability is right here around the upper level low pressure center that's going to be continue to move off to the east. So now portions of Kentucky, back into Tennessee, back into Alabama, getting into Georgia by then. Some light showers in far northern portions of Florida. Much of the mid-Atlantic and much of the Northeast is actually pretty clear. And then for your actual Halloween day, for your trick-or-treaters out there, again, it's fairly nice weather overall. About 80% of the country is going to be experiencing a good chunk of very nice conditions. The only instability is going to be right along that upper level low pressure center that's going to continue to shift off into portions of the Carolinas, getting into more portions of the Georgia by then, but just light showers as you head further off into the Ohio Valley and to the mid-Atlantic state. I'm not really expecting any widespread activity with this setup, but you can actually see heading up into the Pacific Northwest, that's when our next storm maker is going to be entering the picture into the US. So we could be looking at some mixed precipitation starting to fly in the higher elevations. More heavier rain is going to shift off into the coastal regions of Seattle and Portland areas. That heavier rains will start to shift, getting down into portions of Northern California. It's all complements of this trough. This is going to be a fairly significant trough that's going to be setting up for the next week. So out ahead of it, we got the southwest winds. You're really going to warm up pretty rapidly. All these temperatures down here should be at least average, if not further north you go, well above average in a good chunk of our northern regions. But it's going to be nothing but that. It's going to be cold, actually, pretty some chilly stuff with this powerful jet that's going to be coming and diving down. And it's impressive how far south this actually gets. And it's going to be ringing out some snow showers back behind it. So by the time we get into your Tuesday, November the 1st time frame to start November, we got snows to talk about in Idaho, a good chunk of Montana by then, portions of Nevada into Washington. all the system out here will kind of move itself out. All the attention will be taking shape into the Pacific Northwest. There's the dynamics with this system. It's got some pretty cold air mass, and it even gets colder the further south it goes. So here's the setup on the overall temperature anomalies further set into the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can actually see a good chunk of 10 to 15 degrees below average temperatures, and there's everything but that, well above average for much of our central and eastern 2/3 of the US. And really, it's just this jet stream. So right now it's in the Gulf of Alaska, but by the time we get into Thursday, whew, it is really going to be diving down. There's a 1030 Arctic high pressure that just indicative of some colder air, and look how far south it goes. We're talking all the way down into the coast of Southern California. That brings that colder air mass shifting all the way into California, even Southern California. Then out ahead of it, you got the warm sector, right? So all these temperatures are really going to be escalating over throughout the week. And once this upper level low and this powerful jet clash, that's going to be setting up some severe storms in the midsection of the country. But before then, we got even some record low temperatures to potentially talk about. Here's the overall temperatures for on about 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere. It just goes to show you how cold this air mass is, with that 1030 Arctic high pressure going to be buckling the jet stream and diving so far south. So it's pretty rare to see these temperature anomalies even higher up in the atmosphere showing well below average. That just gives indication how powerful this is, and most of that is going to be able to sink to the surface and bring some of those record low temperatures. Here's your overall temperature anomalies and just the clash of what we're working with by the time we get into the middle to the end of next week, with those 10, 15, if not upwards to 20 degrees below average temperatures for a good chunk of the West. And it's just completely the opposite for much of you guys into the central and eastern 2/3 of the US. And these are actual temperatures, right? I mean, so by the time we get into Thursday, November 3rd, we're talking 43 degrees. That's not a misprint. 43 degrees in Las Vegas. That's some chilly stuff for them. 57 degrees in San Diego and 43 in Los Angeles. I actually checked. For November 3rd, the all-time record is 44 degrees, and that dates back to 1923. So we're talking potential record low temperatures for Los Angeles getting into Thursday. Ridgecrest, 39 degrees. That is definitely some chilly stuff. So by far, this is going to be your coldest air mass you've felt in a long time, especially for as we start November. And it's got some snow on the backside, so you better believe it. It's going to be snowing in Flagstaff by the time we get into your late Thursday afternoon. That snow line will shift into the Rockies, just like you saw some snow the other day in the Front Range in good portions of Denver. I do feel the snow showers are going to be coming back by the time we get into, say, I think next Thursday time frame for a good portions of the Front Range again, with that renewed push of that colder air, and that snow line will shift much further south as we get throughout the week. It's all complements of this powerful jet stream that's going to be diving across. If you look at the overall 500 millibar winds, again, this is just very rare to see it dipping so far south. That just gives you an idea how powerful this is. Whenever this happens, this is definitely pretty concerning. Could be setting up rounds of severe storms as we head into Friday, Saturday, into next weekend. With all that colder push of air and that clash in temperatures, the winds are going to be, unfortunately, potentially changing in directions. We got more water vapor to tap into by then, into West Texas, getting into portions of North Texas, into Oklahoma, into portions of Kansas again. And it's definitely rare that the Storm Prediction Center, even this far out, putting out a day 7 15% slight risk for severe storms. This shows you how confident they are with the dynamics coming across, record low temperatures out west, all the clash in temperatures, the well above average temperatures, and the change in directions of the jet stream. That sets up severe storms in a good chunk of West Texas as we go into Friday. That'll sneak into portions of western Oklahoma. So we'll have to definitely fine tune this system going forward. So this is not good, seeing such a higher risk this far out, day 7. They don't really do that often, and especially for November. And it's all this. I mean, this tells the story right here with all that darker shaded blue. That's why we have record low temperatures by the time we get into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, going into the middle of the next weekend. With all the well above average temperatures you're going to be dealing with for a good chunk of the central and especially the northeast. They're like, where's fall? This feels more like summer up here. And it is. It's definitely going to be like that. But it's completely the opposite down here with the coldest anomalies, believe it or not, in our southwest regions in a good chunk of Southern California. So, but as we move into the middle of next week, the end of next week, by the time we get into, say, the 5th and 6th time frame, as those systems kind of clash together, that's going to be setting up the severe storms, and that's going to be setting up more heavier rains that's going to be pushing through portions of a good chunk of North Texas again, East Texas, Louisiana, back into Arkansas, into Oklahoma again, Kansas, as well as Missouri, back into Iowa, and then another system that's just going to be coming in off the West Coast with that renewed threat of more rain going to be moving back in off the coastline and into Northern California as we even get into the following week. So, but as we move into Saturday, right? I mean, all the severe stuff, I think, is pretty much in the midsection of the country. We have more of a kind of a zonal type flow that's going to be really starting to take shape as we get into next weekend. This is well to the north, but all the instability is going to be further south. So we're going to have to be really concerned about this whole right front quadrant as this turns negatively tilted. That's going to be as that we tap into that warm sector here. This is where that clash of instability is going to have to be taking place. Then you got all the colder air, and then to the northwest of that, that's where the snow is going to be flying. So you can actually see this by the time we get into your Sunday time frame into next weekend, with this powerful low pressure center going to be having that comma Q shaped swirl to it, bringing those severe storms on the right hand side. Then you got the snow on the left hand side from the northwest of there, and then I got that renewed threat that's going to be coming into the Pacific Northwest. So overall, here's your rain. So we've got those successful systems that's going to be coming in off the Pacific Northwest with rounds of rain. Here's the chart on the right-hand corner of the screen that gives you an idea of how many inches of rain that could fall just in the next 7 days through next weekend. And beneficial rains for a chunk of central and southern California. Most of this is going to be actually in the form of snow. But again, most of the instability is going to be setting up over portions of Texas again, into Oklahoma, portions of Kansas, into Missouri, into Arkansas, into Louisiana. And again, as you shift a little bit further east, it's going to be losing its luster, because this is going to be moving in the midsection of the country with lighter amounts as you shift into Mississippi, getting into Alabama. And it just gets even lighter as you head up. Not much rain to speak of in Florida, really central and southern Georgia. Most of the Carolinas maybe pick up an inch or two of rain, but definitely lighter amounts as you shift up into the Ohio Valley, where you're just locked under that ridge of high pressure. And definitely as you continue to lift northbound into portions of New York and Vermont and New Hampshire, especially in the Maine, guys. I mean, this is under that ridge of high pressure. There's not much rain to speak of. It's going to be high and dry and plenty warm for you guys up there, but it's completely the opposite out west, because we're going to be having that renewed threat for more heavier snows, especially for the ski resorts. And look at these totals. I mean, over the next 7 days, we're going to be adding to the totals in Idaho, into Montana, back into the Sierra Nevada, and then all the way down into Flagstaff. All those ski resorts in New Mexico, even down into Santa Fe, is going to be picking up the snow by then. So yeah, even into the the western slopes, portions of the Front Range as we get into Thursday, potentially Friday, with this system with plenty of snow out west. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.